My name is Dylan and I am a successful entrepreneur. I have the kind of life people dream of, a thriving business, a wealthy family, and a wife, Cassandra, who is a talented painter. To the untrained eye, we make an enviable couple. Cassandra and I met at an exhibition. At that time, she was still an unknown painter, while I was already successful. I was attracted by her talent and temperament, and despite the opposition of my friends, I pursued her without hesitation. After a lot of passionate pursuit, Cassandra finally agreed to be my girlfriend. We soon got married and started our married life. After our marriage, I supported Cassandra's art career wholeheartedly. I opened a gallery for her in one of the city's busiest neighborhoods in the hope that she would make a name for herself in the art world. And Cassandra didn't let me down, as her paintings became more and more popular, and she gradually became a favorite in the city's art scene. To celebrate Cassandra's success in the art world, I organized a gala dinner at our villa. We invited the city's business elite and art celebrities, and Cassandra, dressed in a gorgeous evening gown, paraded among the guests, accepting their congratulations. I was so proud of my wife's elegance and confidence. At this moment, I felt like the happiest man in the world. However, I didn't realize that behind this picture-perfect happy life, there was already a secret that could destroy it all. That secret, like a hidden time bomb, could blow my life to smithereens at any time. But at that time, in my blissful state, I had no idea of the impending crisis. I thought that my marriage with Cassandra would continue happily forever. I had no idea that fate was about to play a big joke on me and that I was about to face the biggest test of my life. It all started with some minor changes in Cassandra. Happiness seemed to remain the same, but subtle changes were taking place. At first, I didn't pay much attention to Cassandra's unusual behavior. She started working overtime more often, sometimes even overnight. Whenever I asked her about the reasons for her busy schedule, she invariably cited a new project at the gallery or an important client. Gradually, I realized that Cassandra was becoming more and more concerned about the privacy of her cell phone. She would quickly lock the screen when I approached and even change the password on her cell phone. Whenever she received certain phone calls, she would always avoid me and talk on the other side of the room. All this made me feel uneasy. Cassandra has also started traveling a lot. She claimed to be traveling to remote places to find inspiration for her art. At first, I didn't think much of it and was happy for her dedication. But later, I realized that the frequency of her business trips was really unusual. Sometimes, she would even pack her bags in the middle of the night and take the earliest flight out. I tried to talk to Cassandra and ask her why she traveled so much. But every time, she would not talk about it, citing her busy schedule as the reason. Over time, our communication became less and less, and I felt that there was an invisible wall between us. I chose to believe Cassandra even though there was a voice inside me that told me something was wrong, and I didn't want to doubt our relationship or Cassandra's loyalty to me. I tried to convince myself that Cassandra was just too busy, and that when she got her work back on track, things would go back to normal. But as it turns out, I was only fooling myself. I couldn't fool myself anymore because the changes in Cassandra were so obvious. She no longer cared about my work and life as much as she used to, and our communication became less and less frequent. Sometimes, I even felt that we had become two strangers who just happened to live under the same roof. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't go on living like this. I decided that I was going to find out the truth behind Cassandra's behavior, no matter how brutal that truth was. And so, driven by doubt, I began my quest for the truth. I knew it would be a painful journey, but I had no choice. I had to know what had changed my wife and our marriage. Doubt, like a seed, grows wildly once it takes root. The more I wanted to believe Cassandra, the more my inner turmoil grew. Finally, one day, I decided to find out. I started looking into Cassandra's whereabouts. I checked her credit card statements, tracked her cell phone location, and even hired a private investigator. However, these efforts didn't work. Cassandra always seemed to be able to avoid my surveillance. Her whereabouts were a mystery, and her secrets were protected. Just when I was about to give up, an unexpected discovery gave me hope. Once, when Cassandra returned from a business trip, I was helping her unpack and found a hotel receipt. It was a luxury hotel on the outskirts of town, far from the type of hotel Cassandra would have chosen for her business trip. What's more, The date on the receipt was the exact time Cassandra claimed to have been out of town. This discovery lit up the darkness like a bolt of lightning. My heart sank, and a terrible suspicion came to mind. Could it be that Cassandra was seeing someone else? The thought choked me, but I knew I had to find out. I decided to follow Cassandra myself, and with my years of experience in the business world, I soon discovered that Cassandra had not gone to some remote location to pick up her stories, but was meeting a man in the city's busiest business district. Despite the distance, I recognized the man. He was Leonardo, the famous gallery owner in town. He was young and handsome, a favorite of the art world. I'd seen him a few times at Cassandra's exhibitions. He was always very attentive to Cassandra, but I took it as a business compliment. Watching my wife get intimate with another man made me feel angry. I could hardly contain myself from punching Leonardo, but reason told me I needed more evidence. In order to obtain hard evidence, I had to seek outside help. My assistant, Isabella, has always been my most trusted subordinate. She is smart and sharp, and her work is perfect. At my request, Isabella used her contacts in the art world and quickly gathered a large amount of evidence. The evidence, from photographs and recordings to love letters, irrefutably reveals the fact that my wife, Cassandra, whom I love dearly, betrayed our marriage by having an affair with Leonardo. Faced with the truth, I was overwhelmed with anger and hurt. I hated Cassandra for her betrayal, and I hated myself for being so stupid and blind. I had always thought that I had given Cassandra a perfect life, that my love and support would be enough to earn her loyalty. But it turns out I was wrong, very wrong. In the midst of the pain, a thought became clear in my mind. I want to make Cassandra pay. I want her to taste the bitter fruit of betrayal. The desire for revenge was burning in my heart. But I knew that revenge couldn't be rushed. I had to take my time. I had to make Cassandra go off the deep end without realizing it. And my first step was to tear off her mask of hypocrisy in front of everyone. I began to plan the big show, the one that would change me, change Cassandra, change all of us. And it was all going to start at a seemingly ordinary dinner party. I'd planned an elaborate dinner party, inviting the city's business and artistic elite. The dinner was ostensibly to celebrate my company's anniversary, but in reality, it had a more important purpose: to expose Cassandra's betrayal. On the day of the dinner, I was remarkably calm, if not a little giddy. I greeted each and every one of my guests with a smile and a laugh, and Cassandra was among them, wearing a black evening gown, elegant and charming. As I watched her smile and laugh, I was struck by a wave of mixed emotions. Halfway through the dinner, I stepped onto the stage and began my speech. I started by reviewing the company's history and thanking the employees for their hard work, and then I started talking about my personal life. I say, as everyone here knows, that I have a beautiful family and a talented wife. But today, I'm going to reveal a shocking truth to you. At this point, I paused, looked around at the guests, and finally zeroed in on Cassandra. I pulled a stack of photographs from my pocket and began to show them one by one. These photos clearly documented Cassandra's private meetings with Leonardo. From arm-in-arm strolls to kisses, from dinners to hotels, each photo was hard evidence of Cassandra's betrayal. As the photographs were displayed, the room fell into a dead silence. The guests looked at each other in disbelief. Cassandra was pale and trembling. She opened her mouth as if to explain something, but in the end, only a weak whimper escaped. I looked at Cassandra coldly and continued to expose her for what she was. I told her how she used my trust and support to cheat with Leonardo, and how she skillfully covered her tracks and played me for a fool. Every word I said was like a sharp dagger that pierced Cassandra's heart. Finally, I announced that I had decided to divorce Cassandra. I would not tolerate deception and betrayal. I will not tolerate deception and betrayal, and I will stand up for my dignity. Cassandra sank into a chair, sobbing uncontrollably. She knew that she had no place in the city. After the dinner, I returned home feeling more exhausted than ever. After the thrill of revenge, there was a deep emptiness and loss. I knew that exposing Cassandra's betrayal was only the first step in my revenge, and that I had more plans to fulfill. But right now, I needed a break. I needed time to calm myself, to accept the harsh reality that the wife I loved so much, the perfect marriage I'd built, was a thing of the past. I had to learn how to survive in a world without Cassandra. The days ahead were destined to be full of hardships and challenges. The battle for divorce was about to begin. I had to be prepared for Cassandra's counterattacks, the damage to my reputation, and the division of my assets. But no matter how many obstacles lay ahead, I had to keep going. Because this is not just a divorce, it's a redemption. Only by accomplishing my revenge can I be truly liberated and find myself again. And it all starts tomorrow. It starts the moment I walk into the law office. After revealing Cassandra's betrayal, I immediately initiated divorce proceedings. But I soon realized that the divorce battle was far more complicated and lengthy than I had imagined. First, I had to deal with Cassandra's counterattack. She didn't give in to my public revelations at the dinner party. With the help of her lawyer, she began to bite back, claiming that my cold violence and neglect had caused her to cheat on me. She even threatened to expose some of my tactics in the shopping mall in order to win. I was outraged by Cassandra's attacks. I had given her all my love and support, and all I got in return was her betrayal and accusations. But I knew I had to remain calm. With Isabella's help, I gathered more evidence and strengthened my position. I also used my influence in the business world to stop Cassandra from spreading rumors. However, the trouble with the divorce didn't stop there. We had to start the long and painful process of property division. We had to begin the long and painful process of property division, with Cassandra demanding half of all our assets, including my shares in the company. She also demanded exorbitant alimony on the grounds that she had given up her artistic pursuits to support my career. These demands are, without a doubt, outright blackmail. But I had to make some concessions in order to end the divorce quickly. On the advice of my lawyer, I agreed to give Cassandra a large sum of cash and a piece of real estate in exchange for her dropping her claim to shares in the company. But even so, the divorce process was fraught with twists and turns, and Cassandra seemed reluctant to let go, frequently making new demands and delaying the signing of the papers. At times, I even wondered if she really wanted a divorce, or if this was just another round of games. Isabella has been my biggest support during this difficult time. Not only did she advise me on legal matters, but she also became my moral support. Whenever I was feeling desperate and tired, she could always inspire me with her wisdom and optimism. Gradually, I realized that my feelings for Isabella had transcended the boundaries of hierarchy. After months of tug-of-war, my divorce was finally finalized. The moment I walked out of the courtroom, I felt a sense of relief. The nightmare was finally over and I was free again. But at the same time, I felt an inexplicable sense of loss. After all, Cassandra had been the most important person in my life, and we had shared so many good times together. But I knew that I had to move on. The past was gone, and I needed to start over. And my new life would begin with revenge. Yes, the divorce is just the first step in my plan. Next, I'm going to make Cassandra and Leonardo suffer the consequences of their betrayal. I'm going to make them pay for what they've done. I know that the road to vengeance is bound to be thorny, but with Isabella's support, my determination and wisdom, I am confident that I can accomplish this task. Starting tomorrow, I will begin to lay out my plan for revenge. I will show Cassandra and Leonardo how much betrayal will cost them. This is my new beginning. A new beginning without Cassandra, but with vengeance and self-redemption. With the divorce settled, my life seemed to be back on track. But deep down, the desire for revenge still burned. I knew I couldn't just let it go. I had to make Cassandra and Leonardo pay. I began to plan my revenge. First, I would dismantle Leonardo's business. As a gallery owner, Leonardo valued his reputation and connections above all else. If I could take advantage of these two aspects, I could deal a severe blow to his business. I used my influence in the business world to start spreading negative news about Leonardo. I hired mercenaries to post on art forums and social media, accusing Leonardo of mismanagement and even fraud. At the same time, I secretly contacted some of Leonardo's partners to convince them to terminate their cooperation with Leonardo for various reasons. Gradually, Leonardo's reputation began to suffer. Artists began to distance themselves from him, and important exhibitions were canceled. Many artists began to distance themselves from him. Important exhibitions were canceled, and Leonardo's gallery was left in the cold and his financial situation deteriorated. But that's not enough. I'm going to make Leonardo a complete disgrace. I knew that Leonardo's greatest pride was his position and vision in the art world. He's always prided himself on discovering new artists and setting trends in the art world. If I can shake that, I'll be breaking his spirit. To do this, I orchestrated an elaborate trap. I asked Isabella to pose as a promising young artist and go to Leonardo's gallery to ask for a collaboration, and Isabella's talent and charisma soon captured Leonardo's heart, who organized a big solo exhibition for Isabella and declared her a rising star in the art world. As Leonardo gloats, I reveal Isabella's true identity. It turned out that Isabella had purchased all those amazing pieces on the internet. She wasn't a talented artist at all. She was just following my instructions. This truth, like a hammer blow, shattered Leonardo's proud vision and judgment. The ridicule and skepticism in the art world reached an all-time high. In front of the public, he had been reduced to a complete joke. I felt a cruel pleasure in watching Leonardo's empire crumble under the weight of my plans. But I knew that my vengeance was not yet complete, for Cassandra, the most deserving of the punishment, had not yet learned her lesson. Yes, I'm going to make Cassandra feel the same pain I did. I want her to know the cost of betraying me. And to do that, I'll need more sophisticated planning and organization. For the next few days, I spent almost all my time plotting my revenge. I looked up information, analyzed Cassandra's weaknesses, and devised all sorts of schemes. Sometimes, even Isabella was frightened by my persistence, but she still chose to support me and help me. Finally, after countless sleepless nights, my plan for revenge was perfected. Now, I was ready to bring Cassandra down to the depths of hell. Tomorrow is the day that my plan for revenge will be realized. Starting tomorrow, Cassandra will begin to pay for what she has done, and it will be a revenge that will go down in history. The day of the revenge program finally arrived. I woke up early that day, but I felt a calmness that I had never felt before. Perhaps it was because I knew that no matter what the outcome of the day was, I had done my best, and I had been preparing for this moment for too long. My plan for revenge centers on the two things Cassandra cares most about: her reputation and her career. As a painter, Cassandra's greatest assets are her talent and her reputation. If I can start with these two aspects, I can destroy her completely. I started with Cassandra's reputation. I hired a private investigator to dig deeper into Cassandra's past. As expected, the detective soon discovered some dark information about Cassandra. It turned out that Cassandra had plagiarized other people's work when she was young, and she was willing to sell her sex in order to achieve her goal. These scandals are enough to ruin any artist's reputation. I compiled this evidence into a detailed report and sent it anonymously to major media outlets and art organizations. At the same time, I hired an online army to create and amplify the negative publicity about Cassandra. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Cassandra's scandal to spread throughout the art world. Her reputation was in tatters. Many art organizations cut her off, and her exhibitions and lectures were canceled. But I didn't stop there. I knew that in order to destroy Cassandra, I needed to go after her business. So I began to utilize my resources and contacts in the business world to attack Cassandra's gallery on all fronts. I started by boycotting Cassandra's gallery operations. I convinced many artists to stop working with Cassandra's gallery. Without good artists, Cassandra's gallery lost its most important resource. At the same time, I secretly acquired Cassandra's debts and then used them as blackmail to force the gallery into unfavorable deals. Gradually, Cassandra's gallery fell into a financial crisis. In order to keep going, Cassandra had to sell her paintings and even her personal assets. But even so, the gallery's situation continued to deteriorate. Eventually, under the pressure of debt, Cassandra's gallery declared bankruptcy. My plan of revenge had been perfectly executed, and Cassandra, the woman who had once stood above the rest, had nothing left to lose. She's lost her reputation, her career, and even her pride and joy. In the art world, she's become an object of scorn, a scapegoat. Watching Cassandra's life fall apart under the weight of my vengeance gave me a great sense of satisfaction. This satisfaction came not only from the thrill of revenge, but also from a sense of self-justification. I had finally proved to Cassandra that the price of betrayal was too high. I finally proved to myself that I am capable of defending my honor, that I am capable of controlling my own destiny. But when the ecstasy of revenge subsided, I felt an inexplicable emptiness. I suddenly realized that revenge had not brought me true relief. On the contrary, it made me more cold and paranoid. I began to doubt whether what I was pursuing was justice or violence in disguise. I knew that I needed to re-examine my life. I needed to find a way beyond the hate and the pain. Otherwise, I would always be bound by the past and never be able to truly start a new life. Perhaps a true new beginning begins not with revenge, but with forgiveness. Maybe I should learn to let go and move on. But it won't happen overnight. I know that I have a long and difficult road ahead of me. But no matter how much difficulty lies ahead, I am ready for it. Because I know that only through the darkness can I truly see the light. Only by letting go of the past can I truly embrace the future. When the plan for revenge was put into action and I saw Cassandra's life fall apart because of me, I didn't feel the pleasure I expected. Instead, an unspeakable emptiness and confusion began to haunt me. At first, I thought it was just a feeling of emptiness after the revenge, a feeling of discomfort when the tension and excitement I had felt for so long suddenly disappeared. I told myself that it was normal and that I should rejoice in my victory. But as time passed, the emptiness grew rather than disappeared. I began to lose sleep and relive the past with Cassandra in my dreams. Those beautiful memories, those sweet moments, haunted me like ghosts, making me unable to rest in peace. I began to question what I had done. I began to ask myself, was revenge really what I wanted? Would destroying Cassandra really bring me fulfillment and happiness? Reason told me that Cassandra deserved to be punished, that her betrayal was unforgivable. But deep inside me, a voice kept asking, is that really true? Is the meaning of life really to take revenge and hurt? I fell into a deep state of self-doubt. I began to revisit my past with Cassandra and recalled the moments when we fell in love. We were so happy and carefree. Even though there were many difficulties and setbacks in life, we could always hold hands and face them together. But look at me now. I've been blinded by hatred. I've let revenge take over my whole life. I've become cold, paranoid, and I've lost the person I once was. Is this really the life I wanted? I began to realize that, perhaps, my love for Cassandra had never really gone away. Maybe, underneath my anger and resentment, underneath my hurt and pride, the me that loved her was always there. It's just that I chose to run away, chose to cover up my inner vulnerability with hatred. But this kind of escape doesn't really solve the problem. It will only make me fall deeper and deeper and make me lose myself. Perhaps the real courage does not lie in retaliation and hurt, but in facing my heart, in learning to forgive and let go. I felt a sense of relief at that thought. At the same time, however, I realized that it was not going to happen overnight. Forgiveness requires more courage and determination than revenge. It means letting go of pride, letting go of obsession, and facing the weakest and darkest part of your heart. Inevitably, it is full of struggle and pain. I'm not ready yet. I need time. But at least I've begun to realize what's wrong and to consider the possibility of change. That's a good start. In the following days, I began to try to talk to my heart. Instead of avoiding and suppressing my emotions, I tried to face them and understand them. I began to remember Cassandra's goodness and began to reflect on my own responsibilities in the marriage. This process was full of tears and struggles, but I knew that it was something I had to go through. Gradually, my heart began to become soft. Hatred and resentment slowly began to fade away, replaced by a sense of compassion and understanding. I began to realize that, perhaps, Cassandra's betrayal was also my responsibility. Perhaps we are all just actors in the drama of life, and we have lost ourselves under the pressure of life. That doesn't mean I'm ready to forgive Cassandra, but at least I've started working toward it. I know that I have a long way to go before I can truly forgive. I still need to mend my heart and redefine my life. But I have taken the first step, and that is the most valuable thing. The road ahead is still long and full of unknowns. But I am no longer afraid, because I know that this is a journey to self-redemption, a journey to rediscover myself and embrace life again. At the end of this journey, what awaits me may not be hatred and pain, but forgiveness, hope, and renewal. That will be my true liberation. That will be the beginning of my rebirth. But until then, I have a lot of homework to do and a lot of questions to ponder. I need to give myself time and space for inner growth. Only then can I truly step out of the past and embrace the future. This was the beginning of my inner struggle. This is the first step towards my new life. After a long internal struggle, I finally decided to let go of the past and start my life anew. It was not an easy decision, and it took a lot of courage and determination. But I knew that it was something I had to do, a promise I had made to myself. My first step was to have a long talk with Isabella. I opened up to her about my feelings and my determination to change, and Isabella gave me a big hug. She told me that she was proud of me and that she would always be there for me, no matter what choice I made. This conversation gave me an overwhelming sense of warmth and encouragement. It made me realize that there are people in my life who love and support me. It gave me the courage and motivation to move forward. Next, I began to gradually rebuild my life. I went back to work, but no longer to escape, but to find my self-worth. I started to learn new things, develop new hobbies, and try to make my life more fulfilling and meaningful. Gradually, I realized that there were more and more beautiful things in my life. I began to appreciate the beauty of sunrises and sunsets, and I began to find solace in books and music. I also began to talk to people more, and I began to make new friendships and connections. In the process, I also began to reflect on my own responsibilities in the marriage. I realized that perhaps I was partly responsible for the breakdown of the marriage. Perhaps if I had given Cassandra more attention and understanding, things would not have come to this. This realization made my resentment towards Cassandra fade further. I began to really think about forgiving her, about the possibility of giving each other a new start. But I knew that there were things I needed to accomplish before that could happen. I needed to fix myself first, to find inner peace and self-identity. Only when I truly love myself and reconcile with myself will I be able to forgive others and start a new relationship. As a result, I began to pay more attention to my inner needs. I learned to listen to myself and to respect my feelings. I also began to learn how to express myself and how to set healthy boundaries in my relationships. It has been a long and arduous process, full of trial and error, frustration and tears. But every effort brings me one step closer to myself and makes me feel stronger and more confident. Over time, I felt myself changing. I am no longer the same person who was bound by hatred and pain, but I have begun to regain my hopes and dreams and to believe in the infinite possibilities of life. This change has also been reflected in my work and life. My career started to get back on track, and my relationships became more harmonious. I even began to try new possibilities, such as writing and painting, to express my inner feelings and thoughts. In the process, I let go of my attachment to Cassandra. I realized that maybe we weren't right for each other, and maybe it would be a relief for both of us to be apart. I began to sincerely hope that she could find her own happiness, even if that happiness was no longer related to me. This relief makes me feel more relaxed and free than ever before. I knew that I had truly come out of the haze of the past and had truly embraced life again. Now I'm ready to start a new journey. In sharing this story, I hope to bring some inspiration and encouragement to those who have the same or similar experiences. I want to tell you that no matter how much frustration and hurt we encounter in life, we have the ability to face it and the courage to overcome it. Betrayal and hurt can indeed leave deep wounds in our hearts. Revenge may seem like the only way out at some point, but true relief and freedom often come from our inner growth and transformation. Learning to let go, learning to forgive, learning to love and tolerate is a long and arduous process. It requires us to face the weakest and darkest part of our heart, to keep talking to ourselves, and to keep transcending ourselves. But when we have truly completed the process, when we have truly reconciled with ourselves, we can regain control of our lives. We can embrace the infinite possibilities of life with a new self. So, I want to say to all of you who have experienced similar stories, don't lose hope. Don't give up on yourself. Your pain, your struggles, are all gifts from life. They will make you stronger, wiser, and more able to love and cherish. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.